Hello there. Thank you very much for joining me. My name's Simon Vincent, and it's about that time of year where people are making New Year's resolutions, January of 2021. And so my New Year's resolution is to share a model that I've been working on that is specifically designed to help startup companies and underdog companies to market themselves. It's a model that I've been building in my head for a few years, but actually I really only committed to writing it down and really kind of nailing the details last year in 2020, mainly because all of the craziness and the weirdness of COVID, with all of that, of what was happening, a lot of my clients were coming to me and saying that they needed to pivot, they weren't able to open shops, or they wanted to move online, or they wanted to reach their customers in different ways. And so all these ideas that I'd already kind of been working on felt like they needed to be pushed forward, and this model is the result. It's called Formation Theory, and my aim is to document one part of it over the next several weeks via my social media accounts, via the blog on my website, which is x-cmo.com. And I'm also hoping to be able to support that with some downloadable PDFs that you'll be able to get on the website as well. So make sure you check back there each week for information. Here's the good news. Hopefully the model is pretty simple to understand, and the fact, as I run you through it, it'll be even simpler once you get to know the structure of it. It's based on some of the work I've been doing with some of the biggest brands in the world on their marketing: Audi, Lavazza, Lenovo, MasterCard, Pfizer, some huge companies that I've worked with over the course of my career, and also based on a whole ton of reading that I've been doing around, of course, marketing, but also psychology and entrepreneurship and even military strategy. And so I'll be referring back to the model as I go, and like I say, there'll be a visual representation of it on the website that you can access. In its simplest form, it breaks marketing down into three parts: strategy, tactics, and activation. And I want to start in this video by just giving a very, very top level overview as to what I mean specifically about those key phrases before I kind of delve into it. Because I've noticed that different people sometimes use those words interchangeably, especially for some reason when they're talking about marketing. So for the purposes of clarity, I just thought I would explain in this video what I mean by those terms, so that we can be on the same page here at least. So let's look at strategy first. Strategy for me is a set of fundamental principles and founding ideas about a company that are assessed, agreed, and then brought together into a coherent plan of action and a vision for success. A lot of buzzwords in there. Bottom line is, this is not a brand identity. It's not something that's public facing. It's not a Nike's Just Do It, or an Every Little Helps, or a I'm Loving It by McDonald's. It's simply a piece of work that helps every stakeholder within the business to understand what we're working with, where our company stands within the industry, and within our own customers' minds, and then what our overall aims are for the campaign ahead. And by campaign, I can mean a range of different things. It can be the year ahead. It can be like a 5-year plan. It could even just be a plan for promoting your Christmas goods. The bottom line is that the idea is it's not a founding statement, a business statement about what you're trying to achieve. It's about being able to say, if this is the project that we need to do right now at this point in time, this is how we're going to approach it in our specific way, because this is the company that we are and kind of what we're based upon. So that's strategy. Let's move on to tactics. And I've heard a lot of marketers refer to tactics as being any activity undertaken by a company as part of its marketing. However, I think that this misses a massive part of the marketing mix. I put activities such as making a video, or doing your social media, or even a kind of a mail campaign, or whatever it is. I put them into an activation section, and I'll come on to that in a second. But when I refer to tactics, I do so in the same sort of way that like a sporting manager would refer to them, which is to say that it's a collective approach. It's a way of organizing the activity that is done by all the things that you do to activate your marketing into such a way that it's done as part of a coherent whole. Think of a football manager who has 11 players on a pitch, each of them who does a slightly different job. Well, a successful manager uses tactics to be able to organize those 11 players, with the idea being that if he does it well, they'll perform better as a collective than they do as individuals. And in formation theory, tactics do the same thing, but just with your marketing activities. The key thing to remember about tactics is that they bring the strategy to life. You need the strategy before you can do the tactical part, but they are more flexible and adaptable to the specific situation that a business finds itself in any given period. So, for example, you can have a different tactical approach in the first 3 months of the year than you do in the second 3 months of the year. You can switch tactical approaches to make the most of Black Friday, for example, but you can kind of pull them in and out. But the key is, if you understand the different tactical approaches, that you'll be able to assess and adapt and quickly, with pretty quick shorthand, be able to adapt to the situation that you're in. And this is the bit that I found has been particularly useful for my clients in helping them to pivot because of COVID-19, and increasingly, actually, I'm speaking to businesses who are talking about this because of Brexit and because their customers and the way they're reaching their customers is going to have to change. So that's tactics. The final section that we'll delve into is activation, and like I say, this is where we talk specifically about what a company does as part of its marketing. So in essence, this is the stuff that the customer sees. I'll cover a huge number of different things in this section, from kind of setting up a store, and that could be online or in the real world, to talking about which channels you might use, SEO, direct mail, social media, whatever, to talking about what makes good content for those channels, and that's a separate conversation, to whether you choose to use social, for example, or not. What you then put on your social is also a second thing that you need to consider. And finally, I'll look at customer feedback channels. So this is particularly in kind of talking about customer service and how you deal with comments and questions from your customers. And again, there are different tactical approaches to being able to do your customer service, which we'll come to in good time. The key thing is that through referencing back to the 4 defined tactical approaches, you'll hopefully be able to see at a glance how many of these activities can be done in very different ways, each of them equally as effective, just as long as they're done in a mindful way, in a way that is cognizant of what their purpose is, and that they have a realistic end goal in mind, and obviously a form of measurement that attaches to that. One final thing before I get into the meat and potatoes of the whole thing, I wanted to address the question, who is formation theory for? Now, I mentioned at the top that I see it as being for startups and underdog companies. What do I mean by this? Basically, if you're a founder, an entrepreneur, or even just somebody who has a great idea for a new product or service but have no marketing background, formation theory is for you. I've assumed no marketing knowledge whatsoever. I've broken down the theories and practices into really small chunks and given takeaways at the end of each essay, recapping the top level information. It's my hope that in making the information available for free online, we'll see better products and services finding the audiences that they deserve, and that in this new Brexit, COVID world that we live in, more ambitious people and more audacious ideas will be, I'll help to encourage them to pursue their new business projects. To that end, if you know anyone who you think these essays would be helpful for, please do share the content. And if you yourself are getting an awful lot from them, then please do make sure that you subscribe and follow and And please do comment and ask me questions, and I'll try to clear anything up. My goal is to share a new formation theory essay each week, so you'll have plenty of content to keep coming back for. All that's left to say is, look, I'm looking forward to going on this journey with you.